If you weren't looking for it, you could easily miss this pleasant campus on Jacksonville's South Side. This is the Youth Crisis Center, YCC. Since opening as a runaway shelter in 1974, the nation's busiest, it has quietly become a national role model for effectively saving the lives and the futures of vulnerable young people in threatening situations.
I actually just recently ran into somebody that introduced me to drugs and helped me run away. She told me that she had just recently been able to get off crack cocaine. So it was kind of like me looking at my future, what it could have been if I hadn't had help.
YCC is the antidote for children and young adults caught up in situations typically through no fault of their own that put them in harm's way.
And over the years, what we discovered was that the majority of the kids that were coming to YCC were in fact not runaways. They were kids from our immediate community. They were habitually truant, they were ungovernable kids, they had been locked out of their homes by their parents. And we discovered that rather than finding kids who needed to be relocated back to their families as runaways, these kids really needed a sense of respite from their families.
The problems and causes are many, including dysfunctional and unstable home lives, family discord and violence, and physical and psychological abuse. Some have been bounced from one foster home to another, or have run to the streets to escape, only to find a whole new range of issues and threats. Statistically, they will wind up facing the criminal justice system, addiction, or at best, lives of underachievement if they survive. Through the years, YCC has grown to provide a continuum of services for children, families, and young adults. It starts with YCC's residential shelter and its outpatient program Family Link that uses intensive counseling to reunite runaway, unmanageable, or rejected kids with their families. The stay varies from days to months.
They and their families are engaged in family therapy from the very first day of care. A year after discharge, 94% of the kids are still with their families and they're in school. Family Link also extends into Duval County public schools. We have therapists in every school in high crime zip code areas in the county, and the focus of that program is prevention.
Safe Place provides contact points across Northeast Florida where endangered young people can be connected to immediate assistance. Touchstone Village provides long-term transitional and independent living programs for young people about to leave foster care or who are homeless. The goal is to provide hope for teenagers who have lived without stability, enduring as many as 15 different placements. They struggle with the concept that there are those who love them and care for them and their futures.
The vision that drives the mission is to get these kids to a place educationally, socially, emotionally, that they can become self-sufficient, supporting adults with careers that allow them to earn an income that they can have a better life than what they knew as teenagers.
Also on campus are specially adapted public school classes for both the residential shelter and Touchstone Village. Everything is directed at not only saving young people from the streets and abusive homes, but providing them with the tools to become productive contributors to our community. The proof is in the changed lives of our kids. Ayak and Christy can be here to share their story only because YCC was there for them and approaching 40,000 others like them who have been helped without charge.
I was pretty much a professional runaway, and I ran from a very horrible situation at home.
Ayak's confident smile may show her pride in becoming a nursing student, but it belies the desperate story that began half a world away in the Sudan. Her mother brought the family to the U.S. to find a better life, but her father was forced to stay behind and was later assassinated.
Shortly after my father passed, that's when everything started to fall apart for us. My mom kind of took it hard, so she went into, substance abuse. I was pretty much the only one that stood up and said that enough was enough. When I first got here, I didn't open my eyes long enough to kind of realize what it was that they were trying to give me. But once I realized that all of those people that were around me were going through the same exact thing. We were all there for the same purpose. After I realized that it was truly the safe place, I opened myself up and allowed them to help me, and that's exactly what they did. If I hadn't come to YCC, I probably would be lost somewhere. And now I'm a nursing student, and I'm just trying to help others, and that's all I want to do just because of YCC actually. And the way that they helped me is how I want to pay it forward.
I moved to Florida from California at the age of 13, didn't know anybody, got in with the wrong crowd, and it all went downhill from there.
Christy and her single mom were a family of two. Working 2 jobs to support them, Mom tried to keep things together with strict discipline that made running off attractive to her daughter. Christy would be admitted 13 times before reaching age 16. It became her refuge when conflict erupted at home, a pattern that protected both daughter and mother.
And when I came here, I really felt like they cared about me and giving me a safe place to stay and time for my mom and I to cool off from each other, because at times it would get very physical. And if she said stuff I didn't like, I would just lash out at her. And I slowly realized that the counselors, they had rules that they had to follow, but they were like my advocate. They were on my side. They were there to help me get through what I was going through. It gave me the opportunity to be the person I could be. Terrible things did not happen to me when they would have if I'd been on the streets without any help. My life has turned out better than I ever thought possible. My mom and I get along, and we have a close relationship now, and this is what they do. They fix families, and they help children that need help, regardless of the situation.
Because of such success, YCC's programs and staff have earned a national reputation with a ranking among the top 5 in the country. It has received 2 presidential commendations for excellence. Media have taken note. CBS TV featured YCC on 60 Minutes and CBS Sunday Morning. The New York Times, USA Today, and Reader's Digest also provided coverage. More important, YCC sets the quality standard for services provided to youth and families as evaluated by independent external organizations. The residential shelter stands alone in Florida, holding the highest quality measurement given by the State Department of Juvenile Justice and the top ranking among 32 such programs in the Florida Network for Youth and Families. And in its first 2 years, YCC's Touchstone Village recorded nearly perfect evaluations. YCC is home to the Emergency Room for Youth and Families in Crisis, Safe Place, Family Link, and Touchstone Village. All are vital services. All collectively save the community a fortune in police services, incarceration, and treatment. Turning young people into productive citizens who contribute to community life produces enormous social and economic benefit. Still, the best way to measure YCC's value will always be in the lives rescued from the brink of disaster.
We have a teenage daughter who we realized was just living a life that was out of control. She was real strung out on drugs and not in any condition to make any decisions for herself. If we had not had the option to bring her to YCC, I don't know where I could have taken her. Some of the people here were very tough on Rachel, but she knew that they loved her and cared about her, and that made all the difference in the world. And I literally believe that bringing her to YCC saved her life.
Consistent, proven effectiveness. Nationally recognized. Life-saving, life-changing. Jacksonville's Youth Crisis Center. Hope lives here.